Did it really happen? This weapon will bring Moscow to its knees. A fundamental turning point in the war? The United Kingdom has delivered a weapon to Ukraine that changes the course. Everyone is shocked by everything. A sensation? Now it's not just flamingos? The West is not leaving us alone, and the new mega weapon is already in the hands of the armed forces of Ukraine. Ukraine has done the incredible, and the Kremlin is already in hysteria. No one could have expected this. All the details right now. You are watching Ukraine Today. I'm Solomia Dolik, and these are the latest events. Shock! The United Kingdom has just sent long-range Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. They are already in service with the Ukrainian army and ready to strike targets on Russian territory. This weapon is not just a missile, it's a tool of strategy, a signal to the Kremlin, and a real advantage for Ukraine. Storm Shadow are air-launched missiles with a range of over 250 kilometers, flying low at high speeds and capable of penetrating any air defense system. They are a real nightmare for the enemy. The UK government secretly supplied Ukraine with this additional batch. This was done so that Kyiv could continue striking targets on Russian territory ahead of the winter.
The missile deliveries were made to ensure that Ukraine would have sufficient stockpiles before the winter months, during which, according to the UK, the Kremlin may intensify attacks on Ukrainian civilians. At the same time, the exact number of missiles delivered is not being disclosed.
Bloomberg emphasizes that the UK and its allies are trying to show Vladimir Putin that Western support for Ukraine will outlast the Russian economy's ability to sustain its military efforts. And this is no longer just a theory. In October, Ukrainian forces used Storm Shadow against a Russian chemical plant. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine.
On October 21, 2025, the Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in coordination with the Ground Forces, Navy, and other components of Ukraine's defense forces, struck the Bryansk chemical plant.
The agency also shared that the Bryansk chemical plant is an important component of the military-industrial complex of the aggressor country.
This enterprise produces gunpowder, explosives, and components for rocket fuel, including for munitions and missiles that the enemy uses to shell Ukrainian territory.
These are the first confirmed uses of British missiles on Russian territory after Donald Trump returned to the White House. The Ukrainian army has already demonstrated that it can use this mega weapon effectively. But that's not all. While Ukrainian Storm Shadow missiles strike the enemy, the West has already taken the next step. We are not being left alone. Our allies are helping to protect the skies and save the lives of peaceful Ukrainians. And it is here that Germany is making a powerful move in support of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced on Sunday that Germany has already delivered Patriot air defense missile systems to Ukraine.
Dear Ukrainians, today we can already say that there is a good result for our air defense. Ukraine has now more Patriots. I want to thank Chancellor Merz, thank you to Germany and to everyone who is helping with our agreement. They have been fulfilled, there are more Patriots in Ukraine, and we are putting them to work. Of course, our entire country needs more systems to protect key infrastructure in our cities.
At the same time, the head of state did not specify exactly how many air defense systems were delivered. According to Zelensky, negotiations on further strengthening Ukraine's air defense are ongoing both at the government level and directly with system manufacturers.
And we will continue to work to obtain this. And not only at the political level with states and leaders, but also with the manufacturers of all the necessary air defense systems and missiles for them. There will be meetings on this matter next week. We have presented all the calculations and all possible options to our partners on how to ensure sufficiently reliable air defense. Almost every day we defend ourselves against Russian ballistic missiles, and we need to continue destroying Russian military aviation, and all of this requires a multi-component air defense system. This includes our military aviation, and there are solutions for this, both regarding Gripens and French aircraft, and we are working on it, on the F-16S as well, and also air defense systems and missiles for them. The development of mobile fire groups, and of course right now the priority is drone interceptors, the number of interceptors.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.
And
meanwhile, Ukraine is becoming a next-generation arms-producing state. Ukrainian defenders are destroying not only the enemy, but also his weapons. Oreshnik to scrap. Putin's so-called wonder missiles no longer fly. And the Kremlin is silent because it has no explanation. Ukraine has shown that their superweapons are nothing but scrap metal. How Ukrainian soldiers are destroying Russian military equipment. More in the video.
Ukraine destroyed the Oreshnik on Russian territory. This was announced by the head of the Security Service of Ukraine, Vasyl Malyuk. It has not been disclosed what specific weapon was used by the Ukrainian Special Services. Nevertheless, Ukraine's defense industry is expanding significantly every year. Ukraine is successfully using Neptune and Flamingo missiles together to strike Russia. President Volodymyr Zelensky told journalists about this. He noted that this is not widespread use yet, but there are already the first tangible results with this weapon.
In the coming year, I think the missile attacks that will be carried out with the help of Flamingo or Neptune will be accompanied by a large number of different types of unmanned systems, drones, which will perform their own functions. Some will be scouting air defenses, some will be destroying air defenses, some will be creating interference, some will be providing support using electronic warfare.
The president also mentioned the use of the Palyanitsia drone missile, which has already struck enemy military depots dozens of times. The second positive trend, according to Zelensky, is the use of the Ruta drone missile, which for the first time flew.
After traveling a distance of 250 kilometers across the open water, the object eventually made contact with a sea tower, bringing its long journey to a sudden and dramatic end. Why? Because, of course, a cruise missile is something that has some kind of wing mechanism. That is, the missile is launched either from the air or from the ground. Then these wings unfold, and they create aerodynamic lift, which allows the cruise missile to fly long distances. Our Ukrainian rocket drones, on the other hand, have a fixed wing that is always securely attached, which means they do not require any special launchers for operation, or special cases that are inserted into these launch platforms to ensure standardization.
However, the greatest achievement of the Ukrainians is considered to be the mass use of kamikaze Lyuty drones, which numbered up to 300 UAVs.
Lyuty is a system from the second concept. It has nothing in common with the Shahed, neither externally nor internally. Both its control system, guidance system, and components are different. And
the combat payload and range of the Security Service of Ukraine's naval drones have improved. They can strike targets over 1,500 kilometers away. They were first used in 2022 during the attack on Russian Black Sea Fleet ships in Sevastopol Bay. And since then, these drones have been constantly evolving and improving.
Our Security Service of Ukraine now has significantly more ways to destroy targets than it did before. And it's not just the Malyuk anymore, there are many other things as well. If there are tasks for the Malyuk, then the Malyuk is used. If there are tasks for other drones, then other drones are used.
Since August of this year, the serial production of the Flamingo missile has been announced, which is capable of striking targets at a distance of 3,000 kilometers. The modernized Neptune has already been successfully engaging ground targets for a year now, currently at distances of up to 400 kilometers. It has been announced that soon it will be able to strike up to 1,000 kilometers.
While partners are supplying air defense aviation, Ukraine is simultaneously increasing its own production capacities. The developers of the Flamingo project are scaling up missile production. Domestic production shortens the time from idea to ammunition. More in the video.
A new level and scale, Ukraine is increasing the production of cruise missiles. The developers of the Ukrainian Flamingo missile have announced that the company produces 50 missiles per month and plans to reach a daily output of 7 missiles by the end of the year. The company claims that scaling up is facilitated by their proprietary wing manufacturing technology, which shortens the production cycle. Recall that the Ukrainian missile can fly up to 3,000 kilometers and carry a ton of explosives. In August, the Flamingo struck Russian targets in temporarily occupied Crimea. Early in the morning, 3 missiles were launched from the Ukrainian coast. A base of Russian border guards controlled by the aggressor's Federal Security Service was hit. Additionally, the makers of the Flamingo have announced the development of their own ballistic missiles, the FP-7 and FP-9, as well as air defense systems. Thanks to private companies, Ukraine is able to create defense industry innovations and effectively implement them on the battlefield.
It was precisely during the years of full-scale losses that Ukraine's defense sector made a revolutionary breakthrough in the production of Ukrainian ballistics. First and foremost, this refers to the modernized version of the Neptune missile. The anti-ship version of the Neptune missile was modernized to strike land targets. And at the moment, as a result of improved tactical and technical characteristics, according to the developers' estimates, Neptune's range of destruction is up to 1,000 kilometers. In addition, the armament of the armed forces already includes the Sapson operational tactical complex I mentioned earlier, with a strike range of up to 500 kilometers. Plus, during the years of war, the armed forces have demonstrated a unique ability to modernize even Soviet-era weapon systems. This refers to the S-200 surface-to-air missile system.
Another of the most important developments has been missile drones, such as Palyanitsia, Peklo, Ruta, and Bars.
During the period of the full-scale invasion, Ukraine's defense industry has rapidly evolved in the production of its own strike weapons. And of course, let's not forget about strike drones. Here, according to Kellogg, this is an official recognition of Ukraine's successes.
The armed forces of Ukraine are successfully striking military targets in the Russian Federation. Oil refineries are now in the crosshairs of unmanned systems. Drone attacks have disabled up to 17% of Russia's oil refining capacity. Ukraine is also actively working on the production of interceptor drones. The Minister of Defense stated that Kyiv will soon reach the capacity to deploy at least 1,000 of these UAVs per day to defend against Russian attacks.
Ukraine holds a leading position in the production of interceptor drones at the moment. This is a Ukrainian know-how. To put the situation into perspective, during the recent provocation by the Russian Federation involving the violation of Polish airspace, NATO countries used air defense missiles costing $1.5 million each to neutralize Duran decoy drones worth $10,000. Meanwhile, on the Ukrainian side, they are currently scaling up the so-called wall of drones tactic, specifically the use of interceptor drones.
Ukraine is also developing a new air defense system of the air-to-air class, capable of covering large areas. All this means that Ukrainian developers have demonstrated the ability to create high-precision weaponry capable of destroying important enemy military targets at long range.
And what do you think about the new Ukrainian weapons? Share your thoughts in the comments, like the video, and stay up to date with the main news. There's more to come. See you soon.